Hello, I'm Isabel Hartbrink from the Carbon Finance Unit of the World Bank, and we're here at the Africa Carbon Forum talking to people and trying to find out, what brought them here, what they're doing at the Africa Carbon Forum, if they're networking, if they're looking for finance, if they're looking for capacity building.
I think it's really important to confirm to African developers and potential investors and governments as well that the CDM is not just something which is being taken by the largest developing countries, despite the fact that the largest, mainly Asian developing countries have taken the lion's share of CDM projects so far. That situation is changing. But one of the reasons why it has been that way so far, and one of the things which we need to emphasize in the future, is because there hasn't been the capacity or the understanding of the CDM, or what you need to do that's developed in Africa. And to make that happen, if you like, we have to come here. We shouldn't expect Africa to come to us.
One way of going might be to look at where the sectors are that are busy in Africa. And you could say very clearly that minerals beneficiation, agricultural processing, the power sector, maybe waste management are areas which are operational, and the financial institutions certainly know how to deal with agriculture and minerals. But how to get in there is going to be a bit of a challenge. My own sense is that there must be pretty well-trusted intermediaries that are looking at feasibilities for projects for these various corporates that are around doing these activities.
I think if somebody has a good project, be it CDM or not, getting financing should not be any more difficult for CDM projects than any other project. It should be easier. But CDM provides an additional revenue stream besides the other revenue stream, and therefore if the business plan is well done, then the project is more bankable than without CDM.
Carbon fund we are starting, we think, is quite timely in the sense that there haven't been much of funding targeting more or less like kind of what we call small, medium type of projects because most of the investors or financiers that we've talked to, they don't find them really financially viable. And we think like this type of projects are the ones that can make a difference simply because you find countries in Africa will not really be in a position to generate or originate big-scale type of projects that you can find in Eastern Europe, Asia, China, Brazil, among others, because of the nature of the economies and the nature of the capital availability. So we think if you can do 100 projects of this kind, you'll have a huge impact because most of them are sustainable development in orientation, but also they'll be able to provide employment, income generation, and improve the living standards of a majority of the people since they're targeting rural development type of initiatives.
Yes, it is. We're trying to do a CFL project, installing 10 million CFLs across Ghana and use a programmatic CDM, which is different from the project-based CDM approach. In this one, you have small communities where you go and then you install the CFLs, but you do it in stages, so you don't do it all at once, which makes it easier and cheaper for you to do.
The project is also located in Tanzania, in the southern highland of Tanzania. It is called Ideta Forest Project. It's a very potential CDM project, and we are almost at the end of validation of that project. We hope to generate more than 1 million tons of carbon.
We have learned through CDM. Some of the projects we are promoting, they are so small, so they are not viable for CDM because of the transactions. We find that it's so high. So what we are planning to do, and through this training, we are trying to engage on the POAs so that most of the projects we bring them together. So we have a POA of these projects, like the small hydropower projects. We have potential, a number of them. So we operate them together as a POAs instead of a standalone CDM projects.
One of the first problems I can point out is that knowledge of carbon projects, knowledge of carbon in Africa is still very low. Not only with the general public, but even with our authorities, do not seem to grasp seriously the importance of carbon projects in Africa. This kind of conference in Africa is really going to enlighten many Africans, both leaders and players, key players.
I believe the youth are the future generation, and it's better if we give them the leadership role right now, because climate change is a new debate, and I believe the youth are the key people who can understand that issue, and they still have the energy and the strength to do it. So I believe if they are well empowered through capacity building, they can be able to lead us through this.